I think we're going to go into some slightly more, some pleasant territories for you. You might be pleased to hear.
I'm going to explode with joy on this next album if it's
because you can let some of that out, because we're going to Blood Command next, and the record Praise Armageddonism. It's 4 Norwegians and an Australian walk into a studio, and they come out with one of the best albums of the year. Sam, you and I have been touting this band as one of the best on the planet for ages.
Yeah, like since Funeral Beach, like just untouchable, just brilliant, like death pop, whatever you want to call it. Like they are just ranked some of the best songs of just like joyous, life affirming, fun, frantic, aggressive when it needs to be, danceable, like punk music. Fucking rules. I love this band.
I echo every single word that you said. I also think it's tough for Blood Command because they're a cult band who they've always been too individual to naturally fit onto any kind of particular zeitgeist or whatever, and get the kind of plaudits their music so richly deserves. And their momentum has been stalled a couple of times by the fact that
vocalist changes.
Yeah, after every album they make, seemingly they have to switch singer. This is the second major singer change they've gone through, having made just 3 records in 10
They
years.
did get a second. They did get an EP out with what's the vocalist? Karina. That's it
for sure. But in terms of album cycles, but every one of those records is amazing. Like, we've spoken before on here about Funeral Beach being this kind of like cult classic. For me, Cult Drugs in 2017. Every bit worth the wait.
No, totally. And it was great to see when Cult Drugs came out that, like, as it was a cult thing, the interest was still there.
Yeah, like I got to see them for the first time on that cycle to a 2,000 Trees crowd of, not the largest at the festival, but it's probably a bunch of people who had also been waiting to see Blood Command, one of those deals. And it felt like on that cycle they were able to kind of recenter themselves as a band, I guess, on record and in the live environment with that new lineup and amazing set of songs behind them. As you say, the EP they put out a couple of years later shouldn't be forgotten. Fucking amazing as well. Return of the Arsonist is one of the best pop punk songs of the last 10 years, if you could call it something like that. Some of that fucking nails, pop punk. Which is why it was such a pisser when they had to shift things around again. At the same time, there was another band who popped out of Australia called Pagan, who, to my ears, were picking up a baton that Blood Command were putting down, but instead of the catchy melodic songwriting, were leaning more on the feral extremity that was latent in it and bringing out the black metal side. You were a very big Pagan fan, right, Sam?
That Pagan record was one of my favourite records of the year it came out. I was just like, because it was just doing that like death pop Blood Command thing, but just finding a new kind of feral intensity to it and kind of like adding these black metal touches where it would blast when it needs to, but it still had like an infectious, really danceable, fun energy. And so like I was like so all in on Pagan, and then was like devastated when they were like Rise It Felt Like. I was like, yeah, this band awesome. They split up and I was like, God damn it, why can none of these bands last? Like,
yeah, I thought there was a lot of promise in Pagan, and particularly when you saw them live, particularly their son Nikki
fantastic live,
was a charismatic force to be reckoned with on that stage, which is why it was a pisser, again, when they broke up not long after releasing their well-received debut album. As luck would have it, those two things, for those two bands, happening at around the same time, almost seems like it was the best possible outcome right now, because
like perfect storm, like
because Nikki packing up her bags and moving to Norway to join the band, who are kind of the primary influence on her old one and who now needed a new singer. It almost seems too good to be true, and I was cautiously optimistic about how it would turn out. Emphasis on the cautious. I did have things that I wanted to see addressed in the album, and Sam, I am elated at how hard this record fucking rocks.
This album for me is just like, I hit play on it and like you get the sort of dramatic intro, the spoken words, and then Nikki just bursting through, and that song like just like going full fiery blast, and then you get the sweet pop melodies at the end, like, and then Saturday City comes in, and I'm just like, joy.
There are so many shit bands that this shows up. It's unreal. There are so many bands going for the kind of anthemic, heavy or punk songwriting that make me feel so little. And this comes along and it's like, that's it. This is what that kind of music is meant to feel like. And this has got to be one of, if not the most viscerally intense record that this band have made. Like, this goes fucking feral. Like, that first song, I'm not having you go past when Nikki comes in on that
There's
song.
when she just
It's
bursts in. It's so
untamable.
fiery and like, and there's so many moments like that on the record where she can just go like this feral like.
It's like grind intensity there.
Yeah.
Like the drums in full punk destructo mode. Like, she has brought something wild-eyed and unhinged out of this. Like her, which I think is the thing that we guess could see coming in terms of like putting those two things together. Like her screech, it's like it's barely a scream, but a screech. You know, it's proper like sound of glass breaking stuff.
Yeah, it's proper like again really shrill, and it's not going to be for everyone, but for me, it just when it comes in, it's this visceral on like this music. It's so like
it's
damn
like a fucking
exciting.
bomb going off, like you know, with fucking shrapnel flying everywhere when that hits. And then, as like you say, the song's got an amazing little pop melody. Turns up right at the end for like 20 seconds.
30 seconds, yeah,
and that's it. But it doesn't matter. It makes its mark because it's that good. And then you're into fucking Saturday City. That
synth burst with the bouncing riff and everything, and then Nikki showing that like she can nail the pop melodies on that song. I'm like, this is like perfect, and like those woes on the chorus that are just so classic Blood Command that it feels like the perfect melding of these two, like the Pagan and Blood Command like worlds coming together for something that I'm just like I can't not love.
Those synth lines on Saturday City, like it's pure pop, but doing it that massive, like no one writes these songs like Blood Command for a start, like that because it's on that huge like rolling tom beat. It's got the extra kind of dancey percussion, like it's borderline tropical at point.
Yeah,
you know, but via Norwegian death punk, and even just the verses, the kind of the collision of like pop vocal lines and backing vocals, and then Nikki shredding her throat, like it's thrilling. And that chorus, the fucking
I'll always keep searching.
I've always been searching for Saturday City. Those synth lines going off, it is unadulterated kind of pop rock joy.
It's just sugary, like
delivered with the intensity and force of a fierce, fiery fucking rock band. Like it's so good.
I like, and they do that so many times across this album. But it is that it's so like sugary and bright and fun, but never loses that like actual like grit and heft of like a punk band.
The fucking the crazy like joyous dance beats on it. Like this band have a way of like when they lay into like a disco passage or whatever with some big melodic
the end
guitar
is her
lead,
like with, disco beat,
it whisks you away. You are like losing yourself to the kind of the burst of rhythm and melody. I love the riff that opens A Questionable Taste in Friends is so mischievous and so cheeky, and then when that ooh, 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 kind of over it, it's like it's as energetic and alive as any like Marmoset song. It's just fuck yeah, kick it. But those crazed disco parts in the verses, they fucking slam. Like they are so aggro and hard hitting with it. Where it's that indie dance type thing. But fuck all that, because you've got Blood Command doing it fucking hard and spitting those parts into your face. And on this album, like we've known that for ages. That was what made Funeral Beach amazing fucking 10 years ago. But like, it's turned up and more vicious on this one. Yeah, which just
when
seems
it
whips up the fun factor even more, and it kind of becomes a cycle, and it's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, like when Everything You Love Will Burn comes in, and is like that's where they like really up the extremity with that like spidery, like nasty guitar line, and again the drumming just.
But Burn the Blasphemer for me was the one where it's like there's a twisted nastiness in the guitar on that one, where it feels like that title is well chosen because it's coming out as like the most necro extreme metal laced guitar sound in Blood Command's catalogue so far, and this is the band that people keep insisting on comparing to Paramore. You know what I mean?
But it's got like loads of Burn the Blasphemer's got loads of hardcore on it as well. Like, and that thing is like they can flit around and like touch on all these little things, and it can still always just come back to being like, and here is one of the best choruses you're going to hear all year. Like A Villain's Monologue, where like that song has so many like vocal hooks and melodies, and again that's one that leans more into Nikki screaming, but. Because that was like the first one they did with her, and I was like well into it. But I know you were a bit more hesitant. In the context of the album, when that comes in,
it's a fucking amazing song. And the only reason I was hesitant because, like I said, the thing that I knew would be okay is I know that Nikki can scream, and I know that the harsh extreme side of Blood Command is going to be well served here, maybe even more so than it ever was, and that was cool. My only thing was like, this doesn't show the one thing about this pairing that I'm maybe slightly concerned about, and I didn't have an answer yet.
No, I know. No. Totally
in the context of the album, fucking like again, it's so rad and so vicious, and I think just in general the attitude in these songs. I think it's amazing that they've managed to find all of these different vocalists who have been able to bring that, because Karina on Cult Drugs, I think, was oozing that. And then Nikki turns up on a villain's monologue, and it's like,
what's up with that attitude?
Yeah,
like spitting it out.
The whole song just goes fucking nasty and, you know, quasi-rapped, clawing your face off spit. How much you can turn that off. You know, that riff, when she's doing, you know, the no Satan, not today, just the sheer hilarious of that.
Having that as like your chorus hook of you won't get your way, no Satan, not today.
Yeah,
like way she delivers that, like
even the synths on that riff sound ignorant somehow.
Yeah,
and something I love about Nikki on this record is she's even bringing these like karate chop vocal enunciations, just dropping like on riffs.
Yeah,
it's so good. And when she just like at the end of that song, when she lets that scream out over the riff, just knocking you the fuck out. I want to punch God. You know what I mean? Like it's so good. Like Blur the Blasphemer as well, bringing like the but there will be people who will be turned off by how screechy it is, but those people, I'm sure, have got some safer, nicer melodic vocalists that they can retreat to. This is not toning anything down about itself. Like, this is charisma and attitude in overdrive, and there's not an inkling of sanitizing it for anybody, and there's no semblance of cookie cutter follow the herd about it.
Yeah, but that's it. And the thing is even whilst doing that, they're like I say, they're still writing the best choruses.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because again, when I said I was slightly concerned, it was more like, you know, Pagan were a very good band, but for me, they never had the chorus power that.
I know what you mean. Like,
did. And again, Karina balanced that coin of those two things on the last record, I think, impeccably. And it's fucking hard finding someone who can do that. I'm really relieved at how well this one goes down. And it's not even just like, oh, she can sing nice after all, because that's not it. She's still like charged up more often than not. But the way that she imprints her personality onto these melodies, I think
that's it. Like,
amazing.
Like, it's got like, because she has got this kind of like bratty kind of tone at points, but it's really charismatic and like feels kind of like, yeah, you're gonna listen to her because she's like commanding your attention. And it's like, I just want that movie ending, which is again that kind of classic mid-tempo anthemic Blood Command song that like they're so good at, and she just fits into that so naturally. Yeah,
I think as well as, you know, it's very easy to go like, oh, I like the kind of shrillness in her voice because it is, you know, intense and piercing. But there's also on the kind of more melodic songs, there's something about that brings a real like desperation and kind of yearning to.
It's a character, like there is character.
Yeah, but it's like
a vocalist.
She is putting in her all and is, you know, on the verge of exploding into emotion at any second. And on some of those more emotive choruses, like Nuns, Guns, and Cowboys, and I Just Want That Movie Ending in particular, those notes just fly out of her like daggers. And when she does that, you know, I'm still waiting for the day, like it's so fucking real. You know,
I don't think like the last chorus of Saturday City again, which we've already said like, but like when you get that extra burst of emotion at the end of that, where like it's all kicking off, like,
and again, not cookie cutter, and as well. First listens, I didn't even think that The End Is Her was one of my favourites on it, but then at any given opportunity, not even when I was not like spending time with the record, I would just start going, "You should be humble before throwing that stone." Like, just it's infectious, and that's one where they don't even have to lean into like, you know, shrieking it from the rooftops or being particularly rowdy. It's just pure strength of melody on a level that's, you know, anyone out there would be lucky to go toe to toe with the strength of melody that's in this band on this record. These songs are so massive and so legit.
Yeah, no, like the fact that, like I say, every one of it doesn't feel like there's a kind of a weak moment where you can go, well, that's just a bit filler. Like any one of these songs, you could stick that on a big stage, and that's a big chorus, and like it's memorable. It just never lets up. It's so just breathlessly fun and thrilling.
Yeah,
and
I mean, this band have been so great at, you know, I would wonder what their editing process is like, I guess, because all of their albums so far, or like, you know, from Funeral Beach onwards, like they're like half an hour long, and every single song is one you want to see live, you know?
Yeah.
And
And then they end on a big freak out moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, that happened on Cult Drugs.
Cult Drugs, yeah.
The big ending was like, spaghetti western trumpet kind of it was like synth pop Cavell Attack writing Knights of Sidonia, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And here, they managed to take it further again.
Go even weirder with it.
Yeah, I mean, for a start, the beginning of that song is, again, destructive as all hell. And that like, yappy, like, wah, 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 the way the vocal starts is just so ballsy. But then you get, like, you just yanked into, like, a side alley of, like, seedy swinging lounge club for, like, a few minutes.
Well, like, it's kind of, you get the saxophone coming in, but they're still kind of, like, keeping the aggression going. And then it just goes complete freak out moment. And I'm like...
The guitar riff that's so, like, odd tempo and weird time. It's a prog move for a band whose main thing is, like, dance pop meets punk rock. Yeah.
But it's really cool that they can pull it off. And I think again, I really like that they just save it till the end of the record, so it doesn't feel like kind of like a weird content. It's just like, we're going to end it in a cool and memorable way.
Yeah, it's weird and unexpected. And then, having that massive, like, vast scale apocalypse ending, riding out on a riff with, like, atomic bomb spoken word. Fucking the guitarist for this band, Yngve, I think he's the guy who writes most of the songs. I might be wrong there, apologies. But the songwriter for this band has got to be one of the most unsung guys on the fucking planet. Like, how many incredible songs have we got in the last 10 years? And he's made them work with 3 different vocalists who have all been able to carry such a distinctive, unique style where it is unmistakably Blood Command, no matter which one it is. Like, if you're talking about the best songwriters working in rock today,
he's up there. Like, then again, it's how he can take songs that are kind of like 3-minute punk songs with big pop choruses, but they're interesting and they're not never cookie cutter and never feel like there are definitely like kind of like tropes of Blood Command that you can kind of feel that like they carry through, but it always just, because again it's so distinctly them, it works every time.
Yeah, no other record is going to scratch the itch that this one does this year, and none will until the next Blood Command album, which will probably have something else weird going on as well. And I think their urgency and the kind of energy that they attack these songs with hasn't dipped in 10 years. Like, this isn't just a band coasting, doing a thing that they've reliably done that no one else does. Like, they still make it feel like sitting on an active volcano, the way, like, I know that they've only been able to do on average like an album every 5 years, but the fire has not dipped.
Well, I think it's almost got more fiery on this one.
It's as vital as it was 10 years ago, and this one, again, is almost pumping up the kind of feral elements of it.
Yeah.
Like, this is the album of what we're doing that I've been, playing again and again. I can feel myself just itching to reach for it and fucking go.
Yeah, that's exactly it, because I'm like, it's been like quite comfortably, this is my favorite album we've covered on this week's show. It just is happiness to me, like, but it is so, like I say, it just scratches an itch that no one else can. Like,
yeah, like Cult Drugs is, I think, my favorite right now, but like this is already creeping up, if not already surpassing Funeral Beach. And we did a whole album club on how great that record is. And thinking about it, strength of song, the variety of tricks, strength of performances, it probably is better than Funeral Beach. And that was like the one moment when this band had people going like, oh, new band, look how in touch and cool we are, having our fingers on the pulse, which they don't have now. But this is even more exciting. Like, how fucking eclectic this is to make that breakthrough record 10 years ago seem like, wow, look, that was limited.
Pretty basic, like,
fucking, man.
It's just growth of confidence as songwriters, I think, like.
Can't wait for the tour.
I've got after the sound came out, I was like, they're playing the whatever the Barfly's called now. I'm like, I've got to get a ticket for that.
Yeah, I did as well. I think if you are new to Blood Command, get on it. They are one of the most criminally unappreciated bands on planet Earth, and this record kills.